Larissa, I am so thrilled to have you on the podcast today because we're going to be talking about a topic that I think many entrepreneurs are thinking about or focusing on to truly see some real marketing traction and profits in their business. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Angela. And yes, I feel that publicity is like the redheaded stepchild of the visibility world for whatever reason. And I would love to share with all the mompreneurs out there how they can tap into the power of PR and to get their business profitable.
Right. Right. And as we go on, make sure you stay tuned because Larissa is going to be sharing with you a great quiz for you and also announce some things that are coming up as well that you're definitely going to want to be a part of. So, Larissa, let's start at the beginning. Your journey from moving to Costa Rica and then building a seven-figure destination wedding business without ads or social media. That is something that I think people just don't even think is possible. So, can you take us back to the beginning and what spark led you on that journey?
Oh gosh, yeah, this is quite it's quite the story. So I started in PR back in 1993, the big way back machine. So I was working from uh, you know, Alberta Ballet to the Northern International Children's Festival to working for the city of St. Albert. So I did it all. And I had moved into working in film and television production. So I was doing what they call unit publicity. And that's when you're on set and you're gathering all the materials that you then pass on once the production's wrapped. So that's what I was doing. And I had this amazing opportunity to do a movie of the week in Costa Rica. And so that was in November 2001. So it was quite the adventure. And on set, I met one of the local actors. I thought he was really cute. I came back in December. We wrapped production on December 22nd, January 8th. I'm on a plane back to Costa Rica. Didn't have a job, didn't have savings, didn't speak any Spanish other than give me a beer. And I didn't know anybody. And this is 2002. So if you remember back then, we were still on dial-up internet. Facebook didn't exist because Zuckerberg was still in high school, I think.
No
There was,
smartphones.
yeah, it was like there was nothing. I think like cell phones were just getting to the point where they could fit in your pocket.
Hmm.
Um, and I had to reinvent myself because I didn't know the lay of the land. I didn't have those connections because back then you were very much in your silo, and my silo was Canadian film and television. That
Mhm.
was my media world. So I pivoted and we got married on the beach where we had met. I started working at a travel agency, and that opened up an opportunity to do their destination weddings. And so I took that on, and because I did event production for years. My parents were event producers. I did the children's festival every year, which was like 50,000 kids over 5 days. My parents ran a festival that had 100,000 people over 4 days. So it was like, yeah, wedding, no problem. How hard can it be? And that just, but I eventually it got so busy, I opened it up on my own. So I called it Weddings Costa Rica. And, but again, back then, because there was no social media and the internet was still in its infancy, you basically either paid a bunch of money for Google ads or you paid a bunch of money for glossy magazine ads.
Mm.
And if any of you have ever done advertising, those ads can cost as much as a car. And
Mm.
I think where I was, I had a little tiny laptop in my spare bedroom. I was not in a position to start spending money. As luck would have it, through a friend, they introduced me to somebody who, this woman, Jennifer Cuomo, who was just leaving a big PR agency in New York and starting her own small agency. So I was her first customer. She knew the travel world. She knew the destination wedding world. So it was perfect because I didn't have any of those connections. So I hired a publicist. And it was like $1,000 a month, which back then was like, that's a lot of money. And she was amazing. I went and did a press junket in New York, met with the editors of Martha Stewart Weddings and Brides Magazine, and I was interviewed on Martha Stewart Living Radio for iHeartRadio. It was amazing. And because of that, we had the first wedding south of Mexico to be featured in a glossy, like in a bridal magazine, which was Modern Bride. And then that just started the snowball. And
Mm.
so what happened was then was it 2004, 2005? Destination Weddings and Honeymoons magazine created something called the A list, top 30 wedding planners in the world. Somehow I was named on the list. The only one, the only person south of Mexico, like for Central and South America. So I'm going to be honest with you. Was I one of the top 30 in the world? No, I really don't think I was. There was so many other really wonderfully talented people, but the perception was because I was everywhere, right? My weddings kept showing up in the media, in blogs, on magazines, on radio. So the perception was like, oh, well, she's everywhere, so she must really be the top of her craft. The next year, we hit seven figures.
Wow.
Yeah, with no ads. So when I say the power of publicity, it's not just because I'm not talking about this just because I was a publicist or I am a publicist, but because I have been on the other side and seen firsthand how it can change the trajectory of your business.
Hmm.
And yeah, and I sold the business 2 years ago after 20 years and parlayed back into PR full time. So yeah, it's going to come full
Yeah.
circle.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that success. And I'm like thrilled to have your insight and wisdom and that experience to help us, especially if you're not loving social media. And as we were talking before we started recording, their algorithm changes constantly that we may not even be aware of. And so so many moms listening may be solopreneurs or have a small team. We don't have time to have our fingers and at the pulse of all of the things all the time. And so, can you tell us how your experience by growing without ads shifted your perception of how to grow a business? And also, I know visibility itself doesn't always lead to closing the deal. So, how do you also include a sales strategy with your visibility?
Okay, so that's a great question, Angela. I know there's that old maxim that people trot out that any publicity is good publicity. No,
Right,
it's not. Okay. The thing is, you have to be strategic
right,
between social media and PR. Like you could be doing all the things all the time and not working like in your business, right?
right.
So you have to be thinking strategic. Where is your audience? Where are they hanging out? What are they listening to? What are they reading? What are they watching? That's where you need to be,
Hmm.
right? And I know everyone's always like, "Oh, I want to be in Forbes. I want to be in like these great big outlets." Well, that's great, but think about publicity as being like the like baseball.
Hmm.
You've got the little league, you've got the minor leagues, and you've got the major leagues. Just like you would not expect to go up to bat at the bottom of the ninth at the World Series, your first time ever touching a baseball. Likewise, don't expect to try and get into top tier media. All right. So, and there's a few reasons for this. Well, first of all, I want to go back and just say the thing about publicity is people are always like, oh, well, someday I'll be ready for it. No, no, because everybody's on a journey. And the
Hmm.
moment that you put yourself out as a professional, it's because you're an expert in something and you have experience, you have insight, you have knowledge. There is always someone who needs what you have, no matter where you are in your journey. All right. So, first of all, please, please, everyone listening, believe that you have something to share, something of interest, and something of importance. All right. The media is looking for great stories. They're looking for information to help their listeners and their readers and their watchers. It's not about you, it's about what you can bring to the audience. And the moment that you make that shift, it change everything, right? Because you're not going hat in hand, like, please, sir, give me some soup. You're going, hey, I have this information. Here's what is going to be helpful to your audience. Let's work together. So it's a win-win-win.
Hmm.
Um, Again, so you can position yourself because everyone has a unique experience. So what you bring to the table is different from everybody else.
Right.
So please don't undervalue that. So where is this little league that I'm talking about? Start with your local outlets. Start with the podcast. Like everyone's like, oh, I want to get on to like, Brene Brown. Well, guess what? Like, so does a million other people. Don't, again, where are those? Ask your audience, what are they listening to? Podcasts are the easiest, I call it like the gateway drug to PR, because there's almost 4 million podcasts in the world right now.
Mhm.
They're growing exponentially every single month. So ask your audience, what's your favorite podcast to listen to about whatever your topic is? And then listen to that podcast and see, is this a good fit? What topics are they discussing? What can I bring to expand and keep that conversation going? Right. So start small. Go to if you went to university or college, they all have an alumni magazine.
Mhm.
Pitch a story about how your time at your alma mater laid the groundwork for the success that you're having now as a business owner. People are looking for that type of story. They need stories, they need content.
Mhm.
And so start thinking like that strategically. And because publicity is like, it is the foundation for marketing and sales.
Mhm.
You don't, because what makes publicity different from everything else is that it is a neutral third party who is promoting you as a trusted expert.
Mhm.
This is so different from social media because you're the one in control of your social media, just like you are in control of ads. So think about it. If you see someone saying, oh, my product is the best thing since sliced bread in an ad or on social media, how credible is that? How much do you believe that? You're like, yeah, whatever. Because it's, yeah, of course, everything that everyone has is like the best thing. But if you were like, say, with I'm doing this podcast with you right now. I'm not the one, like, you're the one who's the gatekeeper, and you're the one that said, hey, I think Larissa has something of value to my audience. So hopefully your audience is saying, oh, well, this is a trusted expert, right? It's that credibility, and no amount of social media posting or advertising can get you that credibility
Mhm.
because you're the one in the driver's seat. It's
Mhm.
that third party. That is where the credibility comes from. And that is why it is so immensely valuable that you get publicity. Because once you have that, then you've got that know, like, and trust factor. Then
Mhm.
you can start layering on your marketing. Then you can start layering on your social media.
Mhm.
Right. So that think about it from that perspective is the base on which everything else is built.
Yeah, I think that that's really powerful for people to start at the foundation is people beginning to accept and own that they have something to offer and that they can be an expert and a go-to person for whatever it is. You just have to believe that in yourself, and you also have to evaluate what it is you do well and the service that you can provide. But I love the saying that you have that PR is non-negotiable, and you offered some reasons why you think it is. But are there any other insights that you can offer that are limiting to listeners understanding that to help them go, okay, this is something I really need to be investing in?
Okay, yes, definitely. Because I know everyone's like we were talking earlier, social media, like that's
Oh
where you have
yeah.
to. But here's the thing about social media. Yes, you don't have that credibility.
Yeah.
The other thing is the algorithm. You're maybe 2 or 3% of your followers are actually going to
Right.
see those posts. The other thing is that it gets buried. It is not evergreen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
for example, being on this podcast, when it gets released, it is evergreen. So that means that, anyone who comes to your podcast, they're going to be able to find me.
Mhm.
With the Now this is really important. The new AI algorithm for search, because now when you Google something, the first thing that pops up is from AI.
Mhm.
Well, the old way, and I'm sure everyone has some little inkling of SEO and why it's so important, but the old way of SEO was backlinks, um, uh, keyword stuffing.
Mhm.
How popular is your website? How many links are coming in? The way that I like to explain it is like that movie Mean Girls. So the old Google SEO is like Regina George, like the queen of the plastics. So, she decides who's in, who's cool, who's not. And then it's kind of like what Google SEO is like, oh, you're going to be on page 1. Oh, you're going to be in the first 10 with a blue check. Oh, no, you're not cool enough. Get back to page 54, dude. Like that. Like you can't sit here. Whereas the new algorithm for AI is like Katie, right? Like, the redheaded girl who came from Africa. And what she's, the math Olympics and the mathletes, it's who is the expert. That's what AI is looking for. So what are they doing? They are looking for third-party credibility. Where do you find third-party credibility? The media. So podcasts, AI is scraping and listening to podcasts to see who's being on podcasts, who's being talked about on podcasts, who, like is looking at the transcriptions. So that's really important. Media releases, because media releases are usually like they'll be um published on like hundreds of media websites. So again, it is that third party credibility. The other thing is getting into online outlets. So that can be your niche publications, it could be top tier publications, but you're being written about. Again, you're not in control of that messaging because it's a third party who is saying this person is the expert. And it is really important that you jump on top of that. Right now, the top, I'm sure people aren't aware of this, but the top media outlet for AI search is YouTube.
Mm,
YouTube and LinkedIn.
interesting.
Yep. And also Reddit.
Hmm.
So, I don't know if you know any about Reddit, but that's like there's like what they call subreddit. So
Hmm.
it's basically where people go in and they're like, hey, I have a question about baby diapers. And then there's a whole subreddit about baby diapers.
Hmm.
So those are the top areas that are being used right now through AI to pull the answers for your search queries. And how powerful is this? One of my clients, Alicia, the other day she was telling me, she's a fitness expert for women over 50. And she's like, oh my gosh, this woman like bought my course that I thought I'd taken it down 3 years ago. And I asked her, well, how did you find this course that I thought had disappeared off of the face of the earth? And she goes, oh, well, I did a search for like, women's fitness over 50. And the Google thing came up with you as the expert. And this was the link that it gave.
Wow.
So she literally had like a $300 sale while she was sleeping because working with me, we had gotten her on like, to a ton of podcasts with and repeat, as well as getting her into, you know, the fitness magazines like Oxygen and also smaller outlets. So
Mhm.
that firsthand, I've seen the power of the AI algorithm and why this is why I'm saying it's not negotiable anymore. You have
Mhm.
to do it because it's not relying on social media, it's relying on actual media.
Yeah. And so, while we're on the topic of podcasts, I've had conversations with other guests about maximizing your experience and not just showing up and having the interview and saying, thank you very much. And then that's it. Let's talk about how you can turn a podcast episode like this into 10 other opportunities, how you can maximize it and continue to let it work for you.
Absolutely. Because, yeah, I mean, the thing is, this, again, you're working hand in hand with the podcaster because
Mhm.
now you as a podcast host, you are trying to also grow your visibility and your reach. So you have to, again, think about the partnership. So
Mhm.
you can, once the podcast goes live, uh, you know, put together once you start getting some media traction, put together a media page on your website. Put the logo, put the link to each of the episodes or to the articles. Because again, think about yourself when you are going to check somebody out. If they have a media page and their competitors don't, who are you going to go with? Who's going to give you that authority and that
This is
credibility.
exactly how I am number one when you type in mompreneur podcast. It's like,
Exactly. Right? So, and
yes.
then, take that. I'm going to give you, this is a great tip. I love this. It's a little, it's a app called Missing Letter. So it's like MissingLettr. So the missing letter
Mm.
is E. So missingletter.com.
Mhm.
It's super affordable, but here's the brilliance. So after you've gone live, take the transcript and publish it as a blog post. When you have Missing Letter hooked up to your blog post, what it does, it automatically pulls that blog post and creates a whole year's worth of social media posts. Yes. Yeah, with hashtags and even with graphics. And then you just go in, and it make, for all of your social media, so LinkedIn, X, whatever, and then you go and you just like approve it and then it'll just every month it's going to push out another social post, bring you back your audience back to that post, your blog post. All right.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's one tip for you. Then you can take that, put it as a, you can put it as a LinkedIn article. People probably don't realize this, but you can publish articles on LinkedIn. Now I'm talking about LinkedIn posts. I'm talking actual article because Google uses that for SEO,
Mm.
right? So this is really powerful. Most people have no clue that this exists. I'm going to tell you, I did an article about Forbes Council. That's
Mhm.
where like it's a pay to play. Like they're like it's actually a white label. These guys are paying Forbes $100,000 a year to use the name, but people think like oh, come join Forbes Council for like $3,000 for the year, and you'll get to publish on Forbes.
Mhm.
But it's pay to play. It's not actual Forbes. Anyways,
Mhm.
I wrote an article on that. It went viral. All last year, all of my inbound leads came from that one article because what would happen, people type in Forbes Council, my article would come up on page one of Google right there telling them, hey, before you start spending this money on Forbes Council, check this out. Seriously. I mean, I just
Yeah.
had another call yesterday, and this is an article I put out 2 years ago. So repurpose it as an article, repurpose it into blog posts. If you can even, if you have your own podcast, use it as a guest episode, right? So
Yes.
now you're doing kind of like it's like what do you call it? Like you're promoting the episode from the other podcaster. So this,
Mhm.
again, it's a win-win. And that reciprocity is so powerful because when you start doing things like this, you're building real relationships and real partnerships. And then
Mhm.
what's going to happen? You're going to be opening the doors for more interviews. You're going to be opening the doors for referrals. It's just good juju. Use that article or the transcript for an email
Mhm.
right out to your list. Because the thing is, okay, those people are already on your list, but every time that you share that you've been on on a podcast, you're reinforcing to them you're in the right spot. I'm an
Mhm.
expert. I'm an authority. I'm a credible, figure, and it's just giving them that added like, yeah, this person, like this is my people. Like, look at this person. Like they're really out there. They're being featured in all these different outlets.
Mhm.
Um, Also, when you're pitching other podcasts, it's really good to have a link saying, hey, here's an episode that you can listen to see how I am as a guest.
Mhm.
Because
Yep.
podcasters, they want to make sure, are you interesting? Are you well spoken? Are you someone who's tripping over your words and monotone sounding like a robot? And yes, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Like, right? Like you want to have someone that people are going to want to hang around. And why is podcasting so powerful? I'm going to throw you an interesting statistic here. 83% of people who start listening to an episode will finish it.
Mm.
So, think about how many other outlets give you the opportunity to have someone literally listening to your every
Yeah.
word for up to an hour, right?
Yeah. And people who listen to podcasts are more educated and you're building this really intimate relationship. It's a very powerful medium.
Exactly. And then the most important thing I'm going to share, this is how you turn a podcast into something being profitable, is your lead magnet.
Mm-hmm.
This is why with all of my clients, we start with podcasts because, okay, oh, I got into Forbes. Yeah, that's great. They're going to give you a no follow link in their article, but to your website. They're not going to give any kind of promotion. So if you wanted to promote, oh, here, sign up for my lead magnet so that the listeners, if you've enjoyed what I've been talking about, here's an opportunity for you to go deeper into my world. You're not going to get that with print or radio or television.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Podcasts, yes, it's going to be in the show notes. And you want to make sure that you have some sort of a lead magnet that's juicy, that they're going to use, something that is going to continue what you've been talking about. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to be, if you're talking about oranges, don't throw something out there that's an apple. What do I mean by a lead magnet? Something that, people give their email address, they get onto your CRM, they get whatever it is, maybe a checklist, maybe it's swipe file, maybe you have like some sort of like an AI little bot that you can share. Whatever is going to help them see a win. And I'm talking something they can consume in 10 minutes or less, and that they're going to see a small little win, because it's like the taste testers you get at Costco.
Mm-hmm.
You go, here, here's this little spoon. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I want to buy the entire 10-gallon jug. This is what your lead magnet is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, because a lot of people, they miss this step. They don't have
Yeah.
anything to share or to give, or they're like, oh yeah, well, here's my ebook. Nobody wants an ebook. Trust me. Like, think about how many ebooks do you have sitting on your hard drive?
Mm-hmm.
You want something that people are going to use. So, and then once people they've got your lead magnet, then you can start nurturing them. Maybe and then offer them a low ticket offer, like $9 or $7 or even $27, so that they're ready to take the next step with you. Because face it, if they've been listening to you for that long and they've wanted to come onto your email list, they're already they're a warm lead. More than a warm lead, they're getting pretty hot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where most people drop the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They don't think, what is the next step after I've been on a podcast?
Yeah. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
After, more than 200 episodes. Yeah, it is. And it's okay. But I just always, we plan so much to be on the podcast and release the podcast. Why not make the most of your time and your effort and maximize that experience to get people into your universe? Because that's why they're listening to you. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I
I'm
mean,
going to share. Oh, sorry, Angela, if I can share really quickly
no,
how powerful
absolutely.
this
You
is.
are just abundant with the amazing knowledge and information. Please do.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt there, but I just want to hit home how powerful this is. One of my clients, an amazing, amazing woman, she has a company called um, uh, Chair Whimsy. So she takes secondhand chairs and teaches mostly women how to turn them into beautiful, usable pieces of art. Right? Even if they've never held a paintbrush in their hand before. So and again, please understand the power of getting on the right podcast.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm going to show you right now. We got her on a podcast called Thrift Diving.
Mhm.
So, she'd been on Entrepreneur on Fire. Entrepreneur on Fire is one of the top business podcasts in the world,
Mhm.
millions of listeners. It was nice, but she didn't really get much traction from it,
Mhm.
because she's talking to an ocean when she
Yeah.
needs to be talking to, maybe her people are the tuna fish in that
Mhm.
ocean. So if you're fishing for in the ocean where there's just everything from octopus to shark, you're not going to get the yield. But if you go to that one spot of the ocean where it's just tuna, that's where you're going to have success.
Mhm.
So thrift diving was for tuna ocean,
Mhm.
right? People who take secondhand items and rework them into nice things.
Mhm.
She did an interview. It went for 90 minutes because they were just so engaged.
Hmm.
There is the YouTube channel that goes with it. Right now, that's got 123,000 views and over 400 wonderful comments. Like they're not bot comments. These are people who are like, oh my gosh, I did la la la.
Hmm.
So when she did this interview, she was like, oh, I've got, it was like it was something to get on. It was like a really good lead magnet, which also got them onto her waiting list because
Hmm.
she has a self-study course that she sells a couple of times a year. She told me that within a week of that interview, she had 1,000 new subscribers. Okay. From
Wow.
one interview.
Hmm.
And because she was doing an affiliate, this is another thing, little trick. If you are going to be doing podcasts, have like, put together an affiliate program, right?
Hmm.
Because it
Hmm.
costs about $1,000 a month to run a podcast. People probably don't realize this. And if you can share a little bit, with the podcaster, is a win-win for everybody, right? Anyways, so because she had an affiliate link, she could track when she opened her cart 2 weeks later and see who the purchasers were. Well, with that particular cart opening, she had 34 buyers from
Hmm.
that podcast. So like a $400 course like that, all of a sudden was like, it was what, four figures in
Hmm.
sales from that one podcast episode. That was 3 years ago. She's still getting new subscribers every week
Hmm.
because it ranks so highly. So
Hmm.
if, I mean, hopefully this story illustrates how powerful this is. And because it is evergreen, it's just working in the background continually.
Hmm.
3 years later, she's still getting YouTube viewers. She's still getting new subscribers after they hear the interview. So social media is not going to do that for you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you're reminding me of the importance of also choosing a podcast to go on that has several forms of media that promotes your episode as well. Just like you said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so important. I know we're running up a little against time and I have so much more I want to ask you. This has been a brilliant interview. You've made lights go off in my head and I'm sure like listeners, this is so important. I mean, I hear time and time again and I feel the social media fatigue. And this is really a conversation about focusing on what's going to move the needle. And we think it has to be hard and we think it has to be expensive and complicated. And no, I mean, these are real smart and savvy insights to really maximize your visibility and getting people in your world. So I know we've talked about the power of podcasts, and one thing I want to be sure to talk about, and I see this so much as a podcast host, is there are pitches that are an immediate yes. And then there are others that's like, oh, it
Well,
could have been so good. So can you talk to us about, it's nerve-wracking. It's not easy. So many don't know what they're doing. And I have to tell you that a podcast guest disclosed to me that she paid almost $20,000 for a guest agency to book her on like 10 podcasts.
are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding. So, this is really important information that could save you thousands or give you skills and ability to do something that you wouldn't even have the money to pay for.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm in shock because
Yeah. Oh, I
I
was too.
yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't I seen one of our done we have a done for you service where we promise 30 bookings on episode on podcasts with at least 10,000 monthly listeners, and I'm only charging $3,500 for 30.
Yeah.
I so I'm just like, wait, 20,000 for 10? Holy doodles.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, and she was really like nervous on how I was going to perform. And I was like, well, that's between you and us.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
agency. You can't. I'm doing the best I can, but that's not on me. And I don't get any money from somebody being on my podcast. So, it's like, wow. But it can be that beneficial to to be on a podcast. But how can we do it right?
Okay. And then it all comes down, like you said, it all comes down to the pitch
Yeah.
because that's your first entry into the world. So I'm going to give you, this is what we do with our agency. This is what I teach because I also teach people how they can get themselves booked on podcasts on their own. Make sure, first of all, listen to the darn podcast, please. I'm sure you get those pitches. It's like spaghetti being thrown against the wall. They're hoping something's going to stick, right?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, like I said, ask your audience, who are they listening to? What are they listening to? And that's where you start because you want to get yourself in front of your tuna fish people, right? If
Yeah.
you're if we're searching, like, we're gonna use this tuna fish metaphor. Um, Getting close to lunch, obviously. So go and listen. I mean, at least 10 minutes of the podcast, just so that you can, a couple of episodes, take some notes. Who are they talking to? What's something that you took away from that? Like, ideally, listen to the whole episode if you can. And then when you pitch, reference that in that first sentence. Like, hey, I really enjoyed when, Bobby Sue Smith was on your episode number 251 and she mentioned about X. That for me was a light bulb moment. Thank you so much. Right? Because right off the bat, you're showing I have invested in what you do. I appreciate what you do. Because think about how many people take the moment to actually do that for you.
Some guests don't even know what podcast they're showing up for.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. So that alone is going to put you in the cream.
Right.
It always rises to the top. So right off the bat, you're going to be, oh, I'm going to give you another little tip. If you really, go the extra mile, like we're not talking, we want to do quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
Leave a 5-star review and, like a really heartfelt, like why you recommend that podcast.
Yeah.
You know why? Because think about how many people actually ever leave a review, Angela, on your
Yeah.
podcast.
Oh, yeah. And another thing is like, give me more than your story. Like, share like links to your website or your work or something. Like, we get thousands of pitches. We don't have time to do that. We don't have time to look you up. And as much as we love your story,
Oh, no, because that's the thing. Like, the easier you can make it for the media, the more
yes.
likely to say yes. So after that first paragraph, but first, we're talking sentence.
Yeah.
Next sentence: who you are, what you do, who you serve, what makes you an expert
Right.
in one sentence, and why you're relevant to this podcast.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's
Why are
the
you
thing.
relevant?
Why are you relevant? And then here's a couple of the topics that I could discuss. And then give like 4 or 5. Like, think about, how, again, you want to help the media get halfway there. How would you write that as a title to a podcast
Mm-hmm.
episode, right? And just point form, bullet form, boom, 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 like 4 or 5 topics that would make a really great headline for the episode as a jumping off point,
Mm-hmm.
so that the podcaster can see, oh, here's what that we can discuss. This is really interesting. I can already start the wheels start turning. And then, would any of these be of interest to your audience? Here's your bio. So your bio, you want what we call a boilerplate. It's a weird name, but the reason why we do it is, again, you write it in third person, and it is who you are, what you do, who you serve, what makes you special, and how do they get in touch with you. Shouldn't be any more than 2 or 3 sentences. One short paragraph. Think about if anyone found that bio in anywhere in the world, they read it, they would know exactly what it is that you do. Have a link to your website in there, and then put in as like, hey, here's to give you an idea of my style as an interviewee. Here's a link to a podcast that I did.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't done a podcast yet,
Yeah.
them even a link to, like, if you did a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live, just so they can see, how are you
Mm-hmm.
as someone, how do you speak, how do what do you talk about, how do you sound, and then thank them. So, and then send it off, and have it like I always put pitch at the beginning in the subject line, and then something that's kind of a good hook. But
Yeah.
again, you want to go over clear over clever. All right.
Yeah.
Then if you don't hear anything after a week, just do a gentle follow up. Hey, I know like your inbox is buried. Just want to bump this to the top to see if it might be a
Hmm.
good fit.
Hmm.
Nothing after another week, one last outreach. And then if you don't hear anything, move on.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, don't take it personally. I'm going to tell you that the stats right now as professional publicists, we're seeing about a 15%, and this is across the board.
Yeah.
This is from Luckrack, 15% response rate.
Yeah.
And that response meaning not yes, but just, hey, I got your email, and
Hmm.
it might even say you're not a good fit at the moment, or we're filled our
Hmm.
schedule.
Yeah. Hmm.
But don't take it personally. It is a
Right.
numbers game.
Hmm.
The more you can align yourself and show I've made an effort. Here's my secret sauce that makes me different from everybody else about this topic.
Yes. Yes.
And you're showing that you're easy to work with. Don't send any attachments because it can end up in spam. Really quickly, what I have been finding and really helps is create a one-page media. So when you do get a yes, send it over. It has, here's my phone number, my email, my website, my social media, my link to my freebie, your bio, maybe even do a quick little intro, and then um, this is like kind of bonus points. Create 20 suggested questions that will help the interviewer,
Hmm. Yeah.
and then put it as a Google Doc, right?
Mm.
Because I know people's like, oh, we'll put together a speaker sheet as a PDF, but when you get sent that, Angela, what do you do with it? You can't cut and paste anything out of it.
Yeah, it's like what's beneficial to us is just getting those links in something we can just cut and paste in the show notes, and yeah, so true. And and two, like if you're listening to this and you're a PR person, don't go now. I'm gonna pitch Angela because I'm a PR person and she has a PR person on her podcast. I get that. Like every time I have a certain guest, like they're a marketing, then I get like 15 marketers. You know, distinguish yourself. Don't just immediately pitch yourself when somebody has someone who's doing what you're doing.
Play.
We want a variety of guests and a variety of topics. Or if it's even similar, how are you different? How are you going to bring something new to the conversation? So I could talk to you forever. Thank you so much. We're running up against time. I've got another appointment soon. But if there is a mompreneur listening and who is feeling invisible, what's one PR strategy that they can do this week to begin to shift their thought process?
Again, it is like we were talking about. You have something to share.
Yeah.
If people are pulling out your shingle and people are paying you money, it's because you have something of value to share. And the
Mhm.
media is looking for that. So
Mhm.
please, the Kardashians, nobody knew who they were until they got into the media. Every single person who's famous started out with nobody knowing who they were until they
Mhm.
got into the media. So every journey begins with that first step. There
Mhm.
is no sign that says you have to be this high to ride the ride. You're, the
I
podcaster,
love that.
yeah, they don't care. Oh, well, I haven't made my first $100,000, or I haven't had my first 10K month. That doesn't matter. What matters, what can I share of value to their audience?
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for. You have that. Don't be afraid to step up and share your voice.
Yeah. I love it. I love that permission that you're giving listeners. It's been such a valuable conversation, honestly. So, if there's anyone listening and going, I want to dive deeper on how I can use PR to grow my business, tell listeners about your exciting event coming up.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I do have in the show notes, you're gonna, as far as talking about
Yeah.
the freebie, I do have a quiz, so you can take the quiz and see where are you in your media journey,
Yeah.
and what's the next step for you? Because I know it
Right.
can be a little bit overwhelming. So please it'll take you like, it's fun. I'm, a little bit quirky like me. It'll only take you a couple of minutes. And then what I have happening in February, we are doing what's called a sweetheart of a sprint. And the idea is that every day over the course of the 28 days of February, you're going to be getting an email breaking down what your little job for the day is to move the needle so that by the end of February, you have your media kit, you have your pitches, you have your uh, email, like you have your list of who you're going to be reaching out to, and you have booked yourself on free podcasts.
Love
All
it.
right. So this is easy. It's fun. We'll have prizes. There's going to be like weekly Q&As. So it's like having a publicist in your pocket. And so I'd love
Love it.
for if people want to get involved with that, because as you can tell, I'm very passionate about helping
Yeah.
people get seen.
That is such a valuable resource. Like, if you're listening to this, don't wait. Take advantage of this opportunity to learn from somebody who is seasoned in this arena and has, seen success and can help you do the same. So, thank you, Larissa. It has been fabulous talking to you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, Angela.
Yeah, thank you.